Good morning to all. Oscar Blue for Real America's Voice News. This video, live stream, however you want to call it, goes out to the Biden administration, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Alejandro Mayorkas. You created an app that is called the CBP1 app. For your presentation, this goes out to you. Let me present myself. I'm a journalist. I have walked the Darien Gap 4 times with our network, Real America's Voice News. We are the only network who has walked the Darien Gap completely 4 times. The epicenter that is a catastrophe and a crisis where more migrants have died in the jungle in history by your open border policies. Also, we have walked more than 11 caravans in the south border of Mexico. The majority, 10 of them created these 10 of them, these caravans that I have walked and documented were under your administration of the Biden administration. Due to this open border policies that you are part of, because you signed the Global Compact on Migration, which is an agreement with the United Nations, and you went back to it because Barack Obama was part of this Global Compact, where you open up the borders and the floodgates and you accept migrants through a non-port of entry, through the claim of asylum and refuge. And you have received massively millions of people. You created an app, and it's a bypass app for people to enter into the United States of America under the claim of asylum and refugee and be released into population with a coming court later on their process, which the majority of these migrants, they don't have a persecuted case or they don't have a legitimate case of asylum and refugee. This is extremely important that you have not educated our people, and it is because of this our people have risked their lives. A lot of them have died, and a lot of them have been raped, abused, extortion, and kidnapped. So you created this app, and this app it was only applicable if you enter the country of Mexico and if you transport yourself all the way to the central parts of our country, that is in the city of Mexico. City of Mexico, it is far away from the south border of Mexico. That is through the entrances of Cancun, through Guatemala or Belize, or through the entrances of Guatemala in through Tapachula, Chiapas. That is the last city where a lot of caravans have been created that have walked all the way to your south borders of the United States. You created this app, and this app, you made the direction, and also you made the obligated statement to tell the government of Mexico this app it is only going to work all the way to the city of Mexico. So what you created it is that the industry of illicit trafficking of humans and trafficking of children and the cartel and the organized crime, they already know that they have a massive opportunity of smuggling people through the south border all the way to the central parts of Mexico, where in the central parts of Mexico, in the city of Mexico, you have more than 30, almost 1,000 migrants that they are still awaiting to get the process of the CBP1 app and the opportunity so they can go to the north borders and present themselves in a particular port of entry, pedestrian port of entry, to enter to your country. Knowing this factor, that you created this, you incentivize the cartel to make more millions and to make more money. Now, due to your disastrous administration where you have created wars, a border that is completely disastrous, and ultimately right now we see your incompetence to just put Americans first with the Hurricane Helena and the disastrous FEMA strategy. Now you're saying that the illegal entrances through non-port of entries in the United States of America have decreased. And potentially, you are possibly right. They have decreased because you have increased the possibilities of migrants using the CBP app, and you have made more cities in Mexico to use the CBP app, and you told the government of Mexico to increase the CBP app and more cities in our country. So you are the one that is commanding and saying to us what to do with your incoherent, incompetent immigration policies. You have created this disaster, and you have complicated the lives of Mexican people, and you're affecting our immigration laws because of your American immigration policies. Now, let me just tell you something else. Knowing the fact that elections are coming, you're not stupid. So what you said, Elections are coming, and a lot of people are going to try to make a run for it. A lot of people are going to try to get here. You have a lot of problems, like in Haiti, you have the poverty problem and you have the violence problem. You have the problems right now with the socialist communist dictator, Nicolas Maduro, that, he stole the elections in Venezuela. And a lot of people are fleeing right now through the south of the country and through Brazil, and also still coming through the Darien Gap. So you have a lot of these massive people that are coming in. So if you are saying, oh, you know what? Elections are coming and all these people are going to try to make a run for it, we need to do something about it. So what you did and what you're saying right now, illegal crossings are decreasing. It is because of what, Kamala? And you, Alejandro Mayorkas? It's because you told the government of Mexico, hey, I need you to put these cities in your country with the ability for migrants to use the CBP app, for them to not smuggle themselves, and for them to not come as a massive number into the ports of entry. What you did was you increased the ability for migrants to use the CBP app in where the epicenter and the bottleneck of migration has been happening. That is Tapachula, Chiapas, where I have walked and I have documented more than 11 caravans, and that yesterday there was a small caravan, a couple of days ago, a small caravan that left Tapachula, Chiapas, around 400 to 500 individuals that they started walking. You have micro caravans every day leaving in the south border of Mexico, 100, 200 people that decided to walk. Why? Because you have implemented this ideology into migrants that the door, it is going to shut down and it is possibly going to close, and that you are not accepting through illegal ports of entry. So migrants do not want to wait for the CBP1 app, which makes this to the Mexican government that they are not going to respect their laws and immigration processes, because you are going to shut the door and this is all on your hands. So you open up another CBP1 app city, which is Tapachula, Chiapas. What do? You create a deterrent. It is becoming a deterrent for you to not get this massive increase of migrants into one particular position. So you create deterrents now, and you're using Mexico to create this deterrence. But of course, possibly the Mexican government, it is not going to do it for free, right? So the Mexican government, it is receiving millions by your policies, immigration policies, which they already accepted and said, all right, don't worry about it. We create the deterrent. Where do you want the CBP1 app to be established? Let's create the deterrent in Tapachula, in the south border of Mexico. And you create this deterrent in the south border of Mexico. You create the app where the ability for migrants, that a lot of them, they don't qualify for asylum and refugee. They qualify to see an immigration court individual, but a lot of them, they're going to get their courts into 6 months, 12 months, and a lot of them, they don't come back. The majority, they don't come back because they're afraid that they're possibly going to get deported and they're possibly going to get returned back. So basically, you're creating a bypass of illicit migration, because a lot of the people that they're coming in, they are not actually being legitimately given a statement that they are particularly refugees or asylees. You're using them to bypass your immigration policies for your political agenda, for your 2030 agenda. And you have declared, and you have been completely honest to say to everybody that you are part of the global compact on migration, that you are part of this globalization of immigration. You with Alex Soros, that Alex Soros just sat down with Tim Walz just not too long ago to establish this new into the south borders of your country, of the United States of America. Ultimately, we already know, the people that we are knowledgeable about this factor of immigration, we know that the United Nations is the one that is in charge of your borders with your proxies, that they are the NGOs, that they're the ones that are educating the migrants to say Republicans are bad, Republicans are horrible, Republicans are racist, this is white supremacy, this is conspiracy theory, this is fear monger, this is creating hysteria, this is white imperialism, this is xenophobic, transphobic, homophobic, pronounphobic, fact phobia, racist, fascist, narcissist, bigot, from the river to the sea, la 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 this, la 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 that. This is the level of education that you're giving to our people, using our people, our Latino, Hispanic people, for your political pawns, for your political votes, for your political movement, and creating this destabilization of a border through a legitimate, that it was approved. I don't know where, if it was approved in Congress or where it was approved, the CBP1 app. You have created deterrents in our country of Mexico, disrespecting our immigration law, disrespecting our constitution, and disrespecting the people of Mexico, because the government of Mexico, we already know that it's corrupt. But how far are your politicians in the United States of America different in being corrupt as the politicians of Mexico? I will tell you, not that far. This is not much of a difference as it is right now. So for you to have the audacity right now to say, oh, illegal entrances have been decreasing. The illegal entrances through non-port of entry have been decreasing. Yes, but you haven't implied and you haven't said why. And you haven't said why. Why? Because you have increased the ability to people to use the CBP1 app. A lot of the people in Tapachula, Chiapas, they're saying that their appointments, they're getting it immediately and quickly. Why? Because you want to clear and you want to filter that city to continue the massive flow, and that deterrent, it is working for you, and nobody's putting attention to the south border of Tapachula. But guess what? We already know your strategy. We already know that you're creating this deterrence for you to not have a mass migration, and for you to not have and for you to not lose an election due to immigration policies and using our people for your political pawns. We already know what you're trying to do. We already know how you are trying to use us. Of course, we're not stupid. Latino Hispanics, we're not stupid. We know that everything that you're giving into us, it is not for free. And you're trying to destabilize the Republican Party to not replace white people, to not replace brown people, to not replace black people. But ultimately, at the end of the day, the replacement theory, it is not a theory anymore. It is part of the globalization agenda, and you're trying to replace one political party, that is the Republican Party. You're trying to disappear the Republican Party. From 10 to 15 years, you will have a new generation, a border of Democrats, that the majority of the country, all these states that you're flooding with people that they're coming in undocumented, those states are going to be not red anymore. They're going to be blue. And this, it is an actual strategy that not only you have used it, but also Venezuela has used it, also Cuba has used it, also Nicaragua is using it, and guess what? Mexico, it is using it right now. Not with immigrants, but with the socialist populist political party, replacing, betting, and ultimately buying out every politician for them to stay in power. And this is what you guys have. You guys have in your Congress a uni party that is selling out to these globalists, that they're not opening up their mouths. You have the uni party that is actually just sitting down, being passive, being complicit about, they're saying, if I open my mouth, I'm not going to have an opportunity to reelect myself. I'm not going to have an opportunity to have this money monthly of the United States government, and ultimately I'm going to be displaced. I don't want that. I want to be an imperialist and be here for 20 to 40 to 50 years in power like Nancy Pelosi. This is what you're trying to do. And you're using our country of Mexico to create deterrents in every city of Mexico for you to win an election. And this, for everybody, this is the most aggravated thing about it. The Trump administration needs to know this. If the government of Mexico, it is giving the ability to the Biden administration to create these deterrents, people, that is election interference. So the corrupt government of Mexico, if they are allowing the Biden administration to create this deterrence in exchange for a huge amount of money, that is election interference, because you are helping the Biden administration to not make them look like their border is a catastrophe, and they are going to have a massive influx in this next incoming month, that is November. You have a mass migration right now happening in the Darien that has been decreased due to the new policies of the Panamanian president, which is trying to do the best to control and to ultimately attack the organized crime of the cartel, which by you, Kamala Harris, Alejandro Mayorkas, and Joe Biden, it has increased 200%. The cartel has grown 200%, not only also in technology, economically, financially, but in growth. I'm saying in growth of population and in growth of covering more countries, more continents. You have the Cartel del Golfo. that is operating and moving massively migrants from Asia, massively migrants from the Middle East, through Turkey, and from Turkey to Ecuador, Quito, from Ecuador, Quito into Colombia, from Colombia bypassing the Darien Gap, from the Darien Gap all the way to the northern borders. Yes, too far away, not too long ago, there was 6 individuals, 4 of them from Jordan and 2 of them from Egypt, paying a private charter plane to leave from Tapachula, Chiapas, the south border of Mexico, into the north borders of Sonora, that state connects to Arizona. You have these type of individuals, which economically and financially, they have the way to sustain themselves, to just bypass immigration and to go on this luxurious migration to enter your country under the CBP1 app. And that, my friends, it is how the current administration of your country, it is creating deterrents and using another country to win their elections and their immigration policies to not look horrible, which this has been the administration where more migrants have died between the limitations of Mexico and the United States of America. This has been the administration where more migrants have risked their lives through jungles, through seas, through deserts. This has been the administration which has created a more disastrous immigration policies. They have created animosity between countries in Central and South America. And also, this has been the administration who has grown the cartel and given them the possibility and the ability to understand that they can bypass and also these loopholes that they're using. But most importantly, this has been the administration who has used their proxies, NGOs, to make millions and millions and millions of dollars out of a humanitarian crisis and out of human misery without giving the priority of every country first. God bless you all. I'm opening out my mouth because what you're doing with your people in North Carolina, it is horrible. You're lying to those people. You're lying to everybody that you have decreased illegal migration. You have not. We have a huge problem in Mexico. Chile has a huge problem. Brazil, it is having a huge problem right now with Lula. It is allowing between 12 to 14,000 migrants per week through their south border. You have created this ideology of mass migration in through non-ports of entry. You with Alex Soros, your Soros in the United Nations. You're not making us stupid. The people that we know what you're doing, this is not a conspiracy theory. This is not creating hysteria. And this is not fear-mongering and xenophobia. This is the reality. You're using us, the Latino and Hispanic people, for your political gain and votes. And plus, you're bringing your progressive, mercenary, activist white liberals to create this hatred against one political party when we don't want nothing to do with your politics. God bless you all. Stay safe. Be sure to be reading. Be sure to be your eyes to be wide open of why this is happening. And like we always say, people, God's plan, it is our mission.